Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Mind. Today we are joined by head football coach Andy Ball. And Coach, how are we doing today?
Doing great. Beautiful day outside. The sun's out.
Yep. It's a nice day in July, getting ready for the football season, right?
Amen.
Yeah, right. Well, let's get into that. We can talk about last year just a little bit. You guys obviously went 4-7, 3-5 in the GLVC. Just looking back on it, how do you guys think you performed in the conference this season?
It was pretty frustrating. We were, I think we underperformed and had some things to clean up and kind of went back to the drawing board on quite a few things. And we worked our tails off in recruiting, bring in some great talent and really push everybody in those rooms. And then we went back to the drawing board and changed some things that we've been doing offensively, defensively, and special teams.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you guys started out the season one of the toughest slates that you'll get with Wayne State and Delta State. Just walk me through that road trip. There's a lot of rain on that road trip too, right?
Yeah. That Wayne State trip, I remember driving to the stadium, and it was real beautiful up there, rolling hills and all this stuff, and you'd see wind just pushing all these, like the wheat or whatever it was, and you started seeing black skies, and we got there and had that rain delay for a little bit. But then it ended up being pretty nice after that, weather-wise, and then, going down to Delta State was neat. That was it's not a very long trip, but it was neat being down there. In that part of Mississippi.
Yeah.
It was definitely hot.
Yeah, right. Long drive.
Yeah.
So you guys come back home. You have a 3-game homestand after that. You win 2 out of your 3 games, Lincoln and Southwest Baptist, Utah, Quincy Falls. Just talk to me about that homestand you guys had at home.
Well, I'll tell you, I knew the guys were really hungry. Everybody was really ready to get on the right side. And so I think we had Lincoln, California first.
Yeah.
And that was kind of interesting because you didn't know for sure what you were going to get. Seems like every year is so different for them, just from what we've seen on film. And and then after that, let's see, we had SBU, and we won against Lincoln, California, but I don't think any of us felt like we really performed at our best. A lot of things we needed to fix. There's some, I thought defense played really well, special teams played really well. Offense, we stopped executing at one point, and so raised the standard again, tried to raise the standard, and we played SBU, and I think the guys came out ready to roll, and that was a lot of fun. That game was a lot of fun. So, and watching Gideon Nebo, he really had a great game in that game. I remember we threw a screen on 1st and 10, just a drive starter. Mm-hmm. He housed it, and the guys blocked their tails off, and I think he returned a punt. He was everywhere. And so, anyway, and then, the Quincy game, that was a tough pill to swallow. We were up at halftime and came out in the second half and just, I think came out a little flat, and they came out hard and punched us in the mouth a few times, and I think everybody was kind of stunned. And we let that one get away from us. So that one felt pretty bad. We don't want that to ever happen again. Yeah.
Then after that, you have a little bit of a road trip with Truman and Jewel, then come back for Lincoln and McKendree. After that Lincoln, when you guys go back to 500 and you're above 500 in the conference, talk to me about what your coaching staff was feeling after that Lincoln, Missouri game.
Well, again, we were excited. That was homecoming. Had a lot of people here. Had a lot of alums that we had a group of alums that their last game was against Lincoln, they had lost, and so. They had told me that the night before,
right.
And so a little pressure there, but we won, and man, they were so excited. They came flooding in the locker room, and that was neat. And I thought our kids performed really well on that day too. Lincoln has some talent; they're going to keep getting better and better. They had some really good kids, but I thought our kids really played well that day. And special teams again played really well. I remember we threw a fake punt for a touchdown to Bryson Burns. That really sparked everybody. They have a great tailback. I think he's a freshman. Their quarterback was really athletic. I thought our defense stepped up and did some nice things to it because I think those 2 kids could break things open at times. And then I think offensively they executed well. So that was a lot of fun. And then after that game you just kind of let's keep this going. So who do we have to? Was that McKendree?
Yeah, McKendree right after that. Yeah.
So then it went backwards, but. And McKendree, man, they had a good season. They did a good job. They gave some people some fits, and they came out here, and I thought we played really well in the first half again, and in the second half, we just kind of let them get to us again. You know? And They had a stout defense. They had a very stout front. I remember getting really hard to run the ball. And, I think on their offense, everything's so quick game, quick throws. Their little tailback had a great second half. He's a hard runner, really quick, hard to tackle. And they stayed true to what they were doing, and they just kept kind of like the same way they beat Truman State, kind of make you spread out just a bit, and then they start handing it off to that guy, and he went to work. So
Yeah. And then after that, you guys obviously go to Indy and Upper Iowa. Tough slate to go on the road, and then you guys end up 4-7, 3-5 in the conference.
Yeah. I thought, both those two, when you get on the field with Indy, those suckers are big and they're fast, and it just kind of reminds you about getting back to recruiting. They look good, and they're well coached. And I think there were some things that we could have done passing, game wise to take advantage. But and then the next week, I'll tell you, Upper Iowa, again, same thing. That coach has done a nice job. Those suckers were huge across the board. So it was frustrating, but like I said, I was really proud of the coaching staff. They got after it in recruiting. And the kids have been excited as can be. We've got a ton of kids here right now. So I think everybody's chomping at the bit, ready to go.
Yeah. Some of your standouts from this past year, C.J. Wiggins, the first team, Gideon Nebo, the special teams player of the year. Talk to me about those two seniors you had this past year.
Oh, man, they were awesome. Wiggins was just one of those guys, just so big and imposing and such a great kid. And he's going to finish his degree. He had a shot. We helped him get into with the Colts into a mini camp, and it just didn't stick. I think he's still training, and but the kid's he's a great kid from a great family, and he's gonna be missed. And then Gideon, same thing, man. It's so weird not seeing him every day.
Yeah,
he's been here for a while, and that kid could just break open a game in any way possible, and to be special teams player of the year twice. I mean that's incredible. So I know everybody in the conference is having a sigh of relief that he's finally out of here. But we're gonna miss him. He really did a great job leading last year too. Yeah,
and then your other two seniors on the first team, Cole Luttrell, Carson Pringer as well.
Yeah. Fortunately, Carson Pringer is going to be a graduate assistant working with the secondary, and we had him working with tight ends last spring, and he did a great job. He's so smart. So. He wants to coach, and he's finishing his degree, so it's nice having him back, and he'll help a lot. And then, Cole Luttrell, he's that nasty on the O-line, So we've got some guys that stepped into that role, I think, or wants to step into that role. But he was the nasty presence on the O-line, and somebody's got to bring that spark. And so we've got a few contenders for his role.
Yeah, definitely. Returners coming back, Bentley Hart of the defensive line, Justin and Jaco, Graham Carter also. Those are all first teamers this past year. Yeah.
Bentley's working his tail off. Great leader. Graham Carter, I know he's on an internship, but I was watching punt this morning and watching him. He's a great snapper. So you always get nervous when you're starting long snappers about to leave the program. So he's got one more season. Yeah, and then did you say who was?
Justin and Jaco.
Justin.
Second team, yep.
Yeah, Justin's back. He just got his pilot's license this summer, and he's taking a summer class. Yeah, he's very smart. But he looks great. He's been here all summer. So, I'm excited about those guys coming back. It's nice having those guys back.
Yeah, and then talk to me about some of your newcomers you're bringing in. It was a big class that you brought in this year, a lot of transfers as well. Maybe one of your favorites, Jake Farrell, quarterback out of Hawaii. Talk to me about his game and what you kind of expect for him this season.
Well, Jake was we wanted to bring in, really across the board, we as a staff wanted to bring in some competition at as many positions as possible, just to push and get people uncomfortable. And we looked at a lot of quarterbacks, and Jake, I knew that Hawaii's running the similar offense and things like that, and so I knew that if I always wanted to get a receiver or quarterback out of there. And he came out into the portal, and I reached out to him. We just started talking, and there were so many similarities on what we do, and he's got one more year. So it worked, And the funny thing about Jake is I told him, because he's an Arizona boy, and he's been in Hawaii for 4 years, right? And all his pictures on Twitter are playing golf in paradise. And I kept telling him, I was like, hey, all right, Missouri's a little different. Right. It's going to be a little cooler. But I kept saying, you just got to get through, February.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was cold. And really cold, right? And we get through February, and then it's still freezing. And we had some zeros, days of zero. And I kept saying, "All right, it's almost over, promise," And then we had tornado, And then we've had so much rain, and so it just kind of he jokes about it now. It's like February, but no, he's done a great job. He's really done a great job of leading. He came in and kind of just kind of stayed back and got to know people and started kind of leading. And then he's really kind of stepped into that role where the offensive skill guys can't get enough of him. And he does a good job of coaching. So I'm excited, and I know he's working hard because he's got one shot. So,
yeah.
But he's done a nice job.
Yeah. And you got some more weapons on offense as well. Running back from Indiana State, Sheldon Butler-Lawson, DJ McPherson, a Wayne State wide receiver, and Ethan Merrill, Missouri State tight end.
Yeah. Well, Sheldon's older brother is the former running back.
Yeah.
Sheldon is a receiver from Hutch.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And but yeah, we got him just recently from Hutch, and a couple of our coaches knew his brother.
Yeah.
I think Sheldon's going to be a great receiver out there. Ethan Merrill from Missouri State. We needed some depth at tight end, and this kid's a load, and he's been here this summer, and man, super bright, and does a good job. We've picked up Brennan Toronto, another receiver from Limestone. This summer we've been working on some more guys. Kavion Bills is another receiver from Fullerton Community College. He'll be joining us. Still working on a couple other pieces right now, but and again with transfers, I mean, I think S&T's unique, and so you always try to make sure it's a right fit. And all these guys that we found have been great fits. They've really done a great job of coming in and buying in, but also adding some spice and some leadership. And our kids are so awesome. They're really great at just welcoming people. So everything's been such a good, smooth fit, and it's been a lot of fun seeing these guys grow. And I'm excited to just see the team get together.
Yeah, definitely. A couple more guys that you brought in. Kind of overhauled the defensive line a little bit. You brought in A.J. Reidner from Oklahoma State, another D lineman from SEMO. Just talk to me about what you guys did on defense on the other side of the ball.
Well, that was one of the changes. We wanted to switch from a 3-down into a 4-down, and simplify some things. And I know that, if you want to have a great defense, you better have a great defensive line, and so that was a big priority, is going in and adding depth into that. Playing in the 3-down front, we didn't carry as many D linemen, and so we needed to go find some. And so, the coaches did, a great job of recruiting and picked up a couple D tackles, and you got to have some great D tackles, and I think we're still working in that realm, with the defensive line, keep adding depth there. But, I'm excited. Those guys have really come in and helped out. And I think everybody's excited about, tweaking things and changing things. And defense has done a great job being really locked in.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite moments from this past year was watching AJ at almost every basketball game that we had. He was always on the sideline just getting excited for the team. I think he traveled with the team as well a few times. I mean, he's just a big guy that loves, S&T now after only being here for one semester, right?
Yeah, he might be the happiest guy I know. Yeah. He is always happy. He's always smiling. And it's so neat because he came from, he was at Jenks High School. I remember watching him practice one day. But then he went to Oklahoma State. And you always, again, in vetting these guys, sometimes you worry about some of these guys bringing a big ego and, all this stuff. And we've been really fortunate. None of these guys have done that. And AJ, probably is the highest profile as far as, the place he's coming from.
Yeah.
And, man, he doesn't have any ego, and he just blended right in. And, I don't know if there's a bigger fan for the basketball team.
Right.
And DJ McPherson, a transfer receiver, he was down in the front row all the time on that. And, but seeing AJ do that it was hilarious. It was neat, and that's how all these kids have done. They've really just kind of blended in.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Talk to me about your schedule next year. You're opening up with Senior Day against Central Methodist, and you're going on the road for a couple non-conference. Yeah.
So we got Central Methodist coming down here, and my one of my best friends is the head coach there. We're teammates and GAs together and stuff, and I know he does a good job, and he's been working his tail off, and so that'll be a good one to open with, and then. Northeastern Oklahoma. Man, that one's going to be a tough one. Those guys have recruited their tails off. You talk about D-line. They're going nuts on the D-line right now. But we saw some of their film. We saw them play against Lincoln, Missouri last year.
Yeah.
And super talented. That's going to be a great gauge right there to see kind of where we're at. And what we're ready for. And then we go up to Missouri Western. Tyler Fenwick used to be the head coach here.
Yeah.
Again, one of my best friends, phenomenal coach, great staff, and he does a great job. And so that one's going to be interesting because our offenses are I learned from him, and so it's going to be a lot of the same. And but again, that'll be neat. We did a walkthrough up there with our kids in their indoor last year on the way to Wayne State. And I thought that would be great so that our guys could at least see that facility and all that. So that I told them, I was like, hey, when we come back here next year, like, now you've seen it. It shouldn't freak you out.
Yeah.
But that's going to be a neat place to play. They got a massive scoreboard and just a neat environment.
Yeah.
And then I believe we come back here and play Truman State.
Yep. Yeah.
So, it's going to be that's going to be some tough games right off the bat. But I think going into conference, going into that Truman State game, I think we'll be battle tested and we'll kind of know where we're at, where our strengths and weaknesses are by that point. And excited to play Truman State here as opposed to up there. It's nice to get them home. So it's going to be a good tough stretch, and I think they're all winnable, but I think they'll all be a very big challenge.
Yeah, and you don't have like a big road trip like you did last year. You guys went up to Upper Iowa last year, but you're bringing Upper Iowa here for homecoming October 4th, 1 p.m.
Yeah, and that'll be a tough one. Those suckers, they've done a great job recruiting, and those coaches do a great job, and so that'll be a good game. I'm so glad we're not going there. We went there twice. The last 2 years we've been there at least once, and I think you can't do that trip too many times in a row.
Just driving through middle nowhere Iowa the whole time, right?
Yeah. So I'm really glad they're coming here as well.
Yeah. Well, Coach, what are you looking forward to this next season? Obviously bringing back a lot of weapons. A.J. Harris, we didn't even mention him yet, running back out of Iowa State, getting in his second year.
Yeah. I think that running back room is really going to be talented. Kai Martin's back. He was on an Achilles tear last year, and Kai's dynamic as can be. A.J., I'm expecting a big year. Evan Wells redshirted last year. I think he's a phenomenal running back. I'm excited about him. Gage Hirschberger will be healthy again. He had he had a foot injury for a lot of last year, and that sucker runs hard. So I'm excited to get him back. Kyle Webling, hopefully he'll come off. He had a shoulder repair, and so once we get him all healthy, I think he's talented. And we've got some young depth in there too. But I'm excited about that room. That should be a good, tough room.
And your receiver room is just completely overhauled this year, right?
Yeah. It's amazing how healthy you get when you up the talent in that room.
Right.
we got some, and I say that joking. We got some kids that you see look a lot better all of a sudden and run a lot faster all of a sudden. But we needed that room. We needed to deepen it up, and that was just one of the other rooms we needed competition added into. We lost C.J. Wiggins, C.J. Jarman, Bryson Burns. Those are three big producers. So after the season was over, those three made you pretty nervous when they left. And so, receiver's been a big point of emphasis as well. But I don't know. I'm just excited to see these kids compete. I think the chemistry's been great. There's going to be so many changes that we're doing that there'll be some growing pains here and there. But the kids they're sharp. The coaches are working their tails off, and I'm excited to open at home. Yeah. And I'm glad that at least we get to play, like Truman and Upper Iowa and Indy at home, and so that's good. So anyway, I'm excited about the season. It's going to be kind of funny. Our bye week is that last week 11, and so we're going to be done and hopefully preparing for a postseason of some kind. Yeah. But it's kind of strange thinking you're going to start at week 0 and go straight through, and then the bye week is just the last week of the season. One, yeah. So, but yeah, and we're going to do senior day on the first game, which we've always done, late in the season. So I'm excited to kind of do that and get the families here and kind of do it a different way, kick off the season with, celebrating the seniors.
Yeah. Last thing I'll ask you, talk about your coaching staff a little bit. You kind of overhauled a little bit of your coaches this year. You brought in Ryan Watts. Talk about him. You hired Ethan Hudson full-time as well.
Yeah. So, Lorenzo left, our receivers coach left, and, so we started, looking at our short list of guys we knew, and Coach Watts had coached with Coach Oser, and Coach Oster thought the world of him, and I knew him a little bit, and it just kind of became a no-brainer pretty quick. And Ryan was he was working for a graphics company at the time, and he's got a wife, Katie, and 2 awesome little kids, and just an awesome family. And so the more we talked to him, the better it was a no-brainer. And so we kind of talked him into coming up here, and it's been awesome. He's done a great job. He works his tail off, great with the kids. So that's been a great hire. And then, Ethan Hudson. Kevin Kim had an opportunity to go coach at Ray Peck with Coach Jones, and thought he wanted to do that. And I think that's a great opportunity. Plus, it's an in for us at a great school.
Right.
But so anyway, Ethan was waiting in the wings, and I knew he was. And Ethan is a Miner through and through, and he's told me so many times that this was his job. He wanted to be here, and man, he had some opportunities to leave. He turned down a really good job with no guarantee that he was going to be the next guy here.
Yeah.
And so it just worked out perfect, and God's got a plan on all this stuff, and the timing is his own, and and it's just been neat just trusting that process and watching it. And man, Ethan's done a great job. He recruits his tail off, and he's hard worker, easy to work with. The guys love him. He's crazy sharp. So and I'll tell you, he'd cut his arm off for the Miners. So it's just neat seeing an alum. And I think the goal. I've always liked those programs. Like Northwest Missouri State has always kind of been that program, and Pitt State in the past, where you kind of, if you can hire former players, guys that they're just all in and they understand how the university works and the type of guy that thrives here, man, it adds something, I think, to the program and to the mystique of the football team and all that stuff. So it was awesome hiring him.
Yeah. Well, Coach, we thank you. Any closing thoughts? I know you're looking forward to the season coming up here in a little bit.
No, I hope everybody comes out and watches. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be fun to watch these guys.
Yeah. All right, Coach. Well, thank you, and we'll catch you next time.
All right, thanks.